Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to Spy Stream. Now, I'm going live a little bit later than I usually do. Usually I go live at 5 o'clock on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and, all the other days. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, that's it. On Fridays, I usually go live on my second channel, Actively Unwoke, and on Saturdays, I rest. But today, we're not going live at 5. We're going live around 6:15, almost 6:15, not quite. But the reason for that is a very special reason because this is not a normal stream. This is Spy Stream. Spy Stream is when we watch a lie, we infiltrate just like a spy would do. I got to get a beret or something to wear for these. Like we infiltrate a live woke training or webinar that you can sign up for on the internet, and we go and we attend and we don't cause any commotion there. But I do stream it live on my channel because I want to see what the enemy is saying and I want to see what the enemy is doing. And they'll tell you if you just look for it. It's rather amazing. They will go around saying, critical race theory is not in K through 12 schools. We do not know what you are speaking about. They will do that every day, all over the media, all over MSNBC and CNN and all these other places. But then they will do these webinars where they will show you exactly how they're implementing critical race theory in education. And that is what we're going to watch today. We are going to watch a webinar. And again, this is a live training. It starts at 6:30. This is why we're going live at 6:15. When we do Spy Stream, we are at the whim of when they want to schedule these trainings. Today, we are going to be watching a webinar from the Center for Anti-Racist Education. It is called Making Better Curriculum Choices. Anti-racist educators use high-quality teaching resources in their classrooms, but it's not always easy to assess a resource's strength or weakness. The new CARE review tool is built to help teachers do just this and more. Please join the CARE team for a guided tour of this new tool and practical suggestions for using it in your classroom, professional learning, community, school, or district right away. Well, that kind of sounds like they are teaching critical race theory in K through 12 schools, because if they weren't, why would they need a new tool from the Center for Anti-Racist Education to review curriculum or to evaluate all of these things that they can do in curriculum? I just think it seems a little bit curious. Yes, Julius, you are 100% correct. I need a beret. I need a beret that I can wear with my headphones. I need some sort of outfit. I am wearing black, so I guess that's a little spy. But I definitely need a beret of some effect for future streams. Maybe I could do a whole like Natasha thing where I have like a red handkerchief around my neck and I wear a striped shirt or something. I don't know. We're gonna work that out. I'm going to Boston tomorrow, so maybe I can do some spy stream shopping. So we do have about 10 13 minutes or so before this thing gets started. I'm actually ready to go in the Zoom. I have it up on my screen. They just haven't started it yet. So while we're waiting for that, I'm going to shamelessly shill. Because, guys, in less than a month, on April 12th, it will be my birthday. I will be older than I am going to admit on live internet. But I would like all of you to help me celebrate my birthday. And the gift that I would like more than any other gift is to have 100 new supporters in my locals community. Now, listen, I think I'm a bit biased. I know I am. But I think my locals community is the best community on all of locals. We do lots of things together. It is amazingly supportive. There are no trolls. It is the only sane place on the internet. I am absolutely convinced of this. And so by next month on April 12th, which is my birthday, I would like to bring 100 new supporters into my community. When you become a supporter in my community, you not only support the work I do and make Spy Stream possible, but you also get access to lots of exclusive perks. Here are just a few of them. We do 2 community Zoom calls every single week. These calls last anywhere from 2 hours to over 4 hours. It just depends. We do them on Mondays at 7 p.m. We do them on Wednesdays at noon. I typically spend 6 to 8 hours every single week on private Zoom calls with my locals. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. I actually do very little of the talking on these calls. You get to hear from everyone else what's going on in their lives, what's going on in the news. We help each other, we support each other. We've done salary negotiation, we've helped each other get new jobs, we've helped each other through losing jobs. I mean, it's just like the full gamut of the human experience take place in my local Zoom calls, and it's amazing. And it will restore your faith in humanity. You get access to those when you become a monthly member. You also get access to Bitchcraft, which is a monthly craft and bitch where we get on Zoom, we bring a craft, and we bitch. All crafts are welcome. Of course, knitting is the far superior of all crafts, but we also have crochet where you can paint, you can draw, you can clean your gun, you can fold laundry, you can just come and hang out. You can do whatever you want. And that's on the second Saturday of every month. We also do a monthly book club. We have our next book club coming up on March 26th. It is with Dr. Howard Asher for his new book, 2024, which is a great book. It's a fantasy novel, but it is an allegory for what's going on in our times. Howard, of course, is a guest on the channel all the time, and he's wonderful, and everyone loves him. And you are going to be able to come to a private Zoom call with Howard on March 26th to discuss this book. Still plenty of time to get the books, plenty of time to read the book, and you can come and have a private Zoom call with Howard. Now, none of these Zoom calls that we do are actually recorded, so you have to show up. It is exclusive for people there, and that is just a few of the perks that you're going to get when you become a member in my locals community. You can do that for $5 a month. You can do that for a limited time, just for this week, for $45 a year. Usually the annual membership is $50 a year, which is still pretty good because that gives you 2 months for free. But for this week only, to kind of jumpstart my little birthday promotion, I'm giving you 3 free months in my locals when you sign up as an annual member. If you are currently a monthly member in my locals, you can upgrade to be an annual member if you know you want to stick around and get some free months out of it. I think it's a really great idea. The other thing you can do is make a one-time gift if you're just feeling kind and generous and want to support the work I'm doing. But again, guys, I can't say enough good things about locals. Locals is genuinely the place that has kept me sane over the last couple of years. I'm incredibly grateful for my community, and I would love anyone who's just looking for a little slice of sanity on the internet to be a part of it. So that's my pitch. I hope you'll come join me. I will put up this little ticker on the bottom. If you want to head over to kb.locals.com/support, you are welcome to do that anytime during this stream, and you can sign up and become a member of my locals. Now, just because we have a little extra time, I'm going to shill one more thing. You guys wouldn't begrudge me shilling one more thing because really, what are we doing but just hanging out right now? Hang on. Let me get it up. So the other thing that's happening is in almost a little over a month, my book is coming out. I am very excited to have everyone get a copy of my book. It's called Actively Unwoke, the ultimate guide for fighting back against woke insanity in your life. You can pre-order the book right now on Amazon. You can pre-order it other places too. Just head over to activelyunwoke.com if you don't want to order on Amazon. I have all sorts of other options. But currently, you can pre-order the hardcover. And finally, because it took a while for them to get this up, you can pre-order the Kindle version and you can pre-order the audiobook. No, I am not reading the audiobook. I'm eternally grateful I'm not reading the audiobook. They hired a wonderful voice actor to do that job because I can't think of anything more awkward than reading my own book. But there will be an audio version. I'm really excited about it. Listen, I worked really hard on this book. It is filled with case studies and practical information about how to fight back against the woke menace in your life, just like the people we are going to be watching on this webinar today. And it is coming out on April 26th, but you can pre-order your copy now. And of course, we will be doing a book club for this book in my locals. So you can get whatever version floats your boat, whatever suits you. But I think you guys are really going to like it. And I appreciate in advance, the pre-orders of the book. All right. Let me see. We're still waiting for the webinar. How you guys doing? Just hanging out? Anything interesting happening today? Just so you guys know, I stream on YouTube, of course, and that is the best option usually for the chat. But I also stream on Odyssey, and I stream on Rockfin, and I also stream on Rumble. It looks like we have people watching on all the different platforms right now, which is awesome. Hello to Bob Robertson over on Odyssey. Good to have you there. Odyssey, okay, I know I'm going to get in trouble for saying this with some people. Odyssey is my favorite alternative. of all of the alternatives. I just think they're doing a really, really good job. The rest are fine too. But you can always catch, just in case something happens with the stream on YouTube, you can always catch us over on locals. And I should tell you guys this. Hang on. Let me just pull my channel up. Well, and again, this is while we're waiting for the Zoom webinar to start. We are really at their whim. I do have it pulled up on my screen so I can see it. But let me make you guys aware of something. So you guys know how we did the Pennsylvania Libertarian Convention over the weekend? Or not the weekend, on last week on Friday, we watched the Pennsylvania Libertarian Party convention. Hang on, I'm just going to show you. Hang on. Okay, I'll show you what I'm talking about. So we watched last Friday the Libertarian Party of Pennsylvania state convention. It was a giant shit show. You can see it right here. It was a special all-day stream. I also created a highlight reel, which you can see right here. Now, the public access company has filed a copyright claim against me on YouTube. And I have like a couple more days before I need to take down those videos before I get a strike. They gave me like a week to comply with their copyright claim. And so I thought I would just leave those videos up a little while longer. But so if you want to watch those videos on YouTube, you need to do it now. You need to do it like this weekend. Actually, even before this weekend, if you can, do it over the next couple days. I have to take those videos off YouTube because I don't want a copyright strike on my channel. But those videos may also exist on other platforms. Just in case you miss it on YouTube, those videos may also exist on locals. Those videos may also exist on Odyssey. They may also exist on Rockfin, and they may also exist on Rumble. Patrice says fight it. The only option YouTube gave me to fight it was to reach out to the public access station, and the woman that put the copyright claim on me is like a young blonde girl, and I just don't really feel very confident I'm gonna win. To be honest, like, it already exists on other platforms, so I'm kind of just letting this one go. I'm letting it go. It's still going to be on locals. It's still going to be on Odyssey. It's still going to be on Rockfin. It's still going to be on Rumble. She ain't going to get all of them. She probably hasn't even heard of any of these other platforms because she's a young blonde girl that worked at Rite Aid before she worked at the public access TV station. I looked her up, man. I did my research. But I'm just saying that they're going to be coming down. And so if you want to watch them on YouTube, last chance. But if you don't have a chance to watch them, they will still be available in other places if you would like to look afterwards, because I'm not taking them off all the different channels. I'm just not doing it. F her. It's a public access TV station. Like, they don't have anything better to do. But this is the life in which we live. Yeah, I think it's fair use too, but YouTube won't even let me argue fair use. I had a whole email typed up to her. I was like, this is an obvious case of fair use. Do we need to review fair use law now? And I was like, this is not worth it. It's just not worth it. Like, most people will have already watched it by the time I need to take them down anyway. And so I was like, whatever. If people want to watch them, they can go to the other platforms. Not a big deal at all. No, Guinness is far superior to Budweiser. Far superior. All right. Well, guys, please make sure you mount that like button for me while we're waiting. Yes, new platforms or alternative platforms are crucial. I've been a little lazy about this with nothing remotely controversial, but I'm going to start. I am always streaming on multiple platforms. So for some reason, YouTube pulls the stream. You can go to Odyssey, you can go to Rockfin, or you can go to Rumble. And I will still probably be streaming there. And that is the plan from now on. I would love it if locals would let me stream to their platform through StreamYard at some point. That'd be pretty great. But they aren't there yet. That's all right. Yeah, YouTube are a bunch of morons, Boomher. I agree with you. Okay, guys, they should be getting started in about 2 minutes. Again, I do have the webinar up on my screen. I hope I have set it up correctly. Let me just see if I can even share it right now. Window. Can I even share it yet? No, I can't. Well, hopefully we'll get it up in a second. Let me see if this works for you guys. Let me see if this sound comes through. Let me see. I'm playing a sound now. Did you guys hear that? Yay! It works. Excellent. I did it right. I'm always so nervous about setting up these things, but it looks like I did it correctly. I'm going to take a screenshot of this so I know how to do it next time. All right. Well, we can adjust the sound. Like all I'm worried about is that the sound is working. We can adjust the level to which the sound plays. Okay. I'm happy that it's working, and then we can go from there. Okay, I'm still waiting for the host to start the webinar. You know what I wanted to do while I was waiting? I wanted to make another Zoom account with my the name that I used. I always use fake names and fake email addresses to sign up for this stuff. So I'm going to just make a fake Zoom account real quick with with this mysterious person's name that I'm not going to share on the interwebs, because that would be giving away my secret identity. Don't want to do that. But just so everything matches up, maybe I want to make sure the host like lets me in and stuff. I should have done that before. I've had a busy day. I had a whole bunch of projects I needed to do. Still got projects I need to do. Okay, activate Zoom account. Activate account. All right, cool. Continue. Aha. All right, now I'm going to sign into Zoom. There. Now I'm all signed in, so I can look official. So just in case, no, that is not my secret. Oh, they're letting me in.
Enjoying the background music, the soundtrack.
They're letting me in. Oh God, there's a soundtrack.
Seeing some familiar names in the chat. Welcome, Brittany.
Uh-oh. I don't know if I can play the... Can you guys hear that?
If you are just joining us, if you want to introduce yourself in the chat, feel free. We're going to get started momentarily, just waiting for a few more folks to join us.
I don't know why they're making me do the sound. Can you guys hear the sound? This is like not going to work. God damn it.
Welcome, Val.
I wonder if they know that I'm doing this and they're trying to suss me out by playing music I'm not allowed to play. Can you guys hear this?
Thank you for joining us.
Okay, you guys can hear the sound. Okay. God dang. I'm just going to turn my preferences on for Zoom audio. We're going to turn that down for just a second because I don't want to get a...
Welcome. Oh, we have someone from Oregon here, Philadelphia. If you want to throw in the chat your name, where you're from,
I can hear.
Free. Thank you so much for joining us. We're happy to have you here.
I can hear it enough to know when they're starting. I just don't want to get in trouble for like playing.
Becky.
I'm probably gonna have to edit that part out with playing like copyrighted music or some such shit.
Rochester, New York, Alaska.
Yeah, they're playing their music to keep it from being on YouTube. I mean, we're gonna play it on YouTube regardless. I don't care.
Let's see.
Maybe they've seen me tweeting about it and they're like, "Who is she?" I like that we can see the chat. I like that. Hope that stays.
All right. Indianapolis. Awesome.
Yeah, the music's still playing. I have the volume very low on them right now just because I don't want to...
All right, well, we can go ahead and get started.
Okay, they're going ahead and getting started.
Thank you all for joining us.
Shut off your music. Shut off your music.
This is going to be recorded. I'm going to officially start the recording now.
Yes, it is going to be recorded.
Recording in progress.
It is.
Thank you all so much for joining us. Happy to have you here. On behalf of the CARE team, we appreciate you being here with us. My name is Andrew Gottlieb. My pronouns are he, him. I'm based out of Queens, New York. And I'm happy to introduce my colleague, Kate Schuster. Kate, take it away.
I'm going to put the link in the chat.
I am so excited to be here.
There's Bingo.
Thank you, Andrew.
And
thanks, y'all, for bearing with my music. I'm going to share my screen here while I figure that out. I wonder if folks who are here with us wouldn't mind answering the question, if you're so moved, that I just posted, Andrew, a couple minutes ago, which is, if you are a star in the worldwide wrestling environment, what is your walkout music? So maybe put that in the chat while I am
worldwide
trying to figure out how to share my screen.
This woman has never watched professional wrestling in her life. Never watched professional wrestling in her life. Oh, God. Oh, we miss the chat now? No, now the chat is back. I feel like the chat is like critical to this equation. We have to keep it up.
Andrew, is that working for you?
All good.
Okay. I'm still trying to figure out how to do this.
Because sometimes this crazy shit happens in the chat, and I want to make sure we're monitoring.
I'm really, y'all, I don't know how to do this.
They never know how to use technology.
There we go.
I did see people from Boston in it. I should get a Carmen San
Nope,
Diego hat.
that's
a
not
great suggestion.
You want to click on slideshow?
Uh-huh.
Every
Thank you.
time they don't know how to use technology. It's fucking amazing.
I'm sorry, y'all. Are we getting good answers to the walk-up?
We have Sorry by Beyonce. We have Wrecking Ball by Miley Cyrus.
These are
we have
horrible
Elvis Costello, Peace, Love and Understanding.
These are horrible wrestling entrance songs.
A few good mixes of songs in there.
Horrible.
Another one by Sedust. Great option.
Awful. None of them watch wrestling. Oh, come on.
So, Andrea, can you help me, please?
Yes, I'll go ahead. Yeah, you want to click on slides, and now we can see. Yep, you're good to go.
Okay, great. I'm sorry. Thank you, y'all, for your patience. I'm not a Luddite. I'm just drawn that way. Hi, my name is Kate Schuster. I'm the Director of Curriculum and Evaluation for the Center for Anti-Racist Education, and I am so excited to be with you today. I'm going to be talking today about our review tool for assessing teaching resources, and this is something that's been long in the mix, and so I could not be more excited to talk to you about it today. So before we start, I'm just going to say that we are talking tonight about how to choose anti-racist. What happened there? Okay. We are talking tonight about how to choose anti-racist resources for curricula. And Andrew, I'm sorry
about that, Kate. I'm gonna present the slides if that's all right, because I know you're having
totally fine. Please do. Okay, so because I don't know how to use technology really. So could you go to the next slide, please? This is about how the webinar will work. So my intrepid colleague, Andrew, upon who I depend for everything, literally, will be monitoring the chat, as we've already found out, and I will be talking as best I can. My teaching style is more to deliver information willy-nilly, and so I would really appreciate it if you would ask questions throughout, which is why I'll be depending on Andrew in part to interrupt me and tell me what y'all are thinking. So please ask questions throughout. And then note at the end, we'll be asking you to do a post-webinar survey. So Andrew, please. Tonight, we're talking about choosing anti-racist resources for teaching. And before I get into the details, I just want to say our philosophy on this is it does not have to be hard and does not have to be a puzzle. We think it's a skill that any teacher can build, and that's the reason that we've built a tool to help. And so the tool is the thing I'm going to be talking to you about tonight. Next slide, please, Andrew. Like teachers, and we are all educators here at CARE, we started with backwards design. And so I want to talk briefly about how we started and where we're going. First, we wanted to really think about how we can build educator capacity to assess their own learning materials. So I'm in a classroom, I'm trying to create an anti-racist environment for my students. How can I assess my materials in a way that's going to be most effective and not take up a ton of my time?
Why would you be
Second,
an anti-racist
we're also thinking about leaders and school leaders, department leaders, building leaders. How do we help them to do a gaps and assets analysis for the materials they are already that are in use? And then concomitantly, how can we influence their purchasing decisions? And then third, how do we give recommendations for teachers who are trying to do better, which I think probably we all are on this call. We all are trying to think how can we do better to create anti-racist learning environments for our students? We wanted to create something that could do that. And then finally, how do we identify high quality materials that we can share out with a larger community so they can say, oh, hey, here's Andrew's novel. Let's make sure that everybody reads that. So how do we zero in on
this volume
really
level better?
That we can share out? Next slide, Andrew.
Is this better? Let me know.
So before I go on further, I want to answer the question of what is a teaching resource. So the tool we are fixing to look at, I live in Montgomery, Alabama, so I say fixing to do. What is a teaching resource? And the answer to that is it's anything used in the classroom. It might be a movie, it might be a book, it might be a worksheet, a podcast, a unit, even a website portal. That's something that you would use. Next slide, please. And to preview the review tool, I will offer these 4 items that I'm going to circle back to in a second. First, again, don't worry if you don't know what the 5 principles are. We're going to talk about those in a second. The way that we designed the review tool is that, like everything that CARE builds, it is aligned to the 5 principles of anti-racist education. So all of our stuff is backwards designed, starting with foundational understandings. The second thing that the review tool does is it steps users through a guided inquiry process so that you can assess.
I can still turn my volume up, guys. Let me know.
Third,
if I need to.
It will then produce a score for resources assignment or alignment that, or lack of, that for each CARE principle, so that you know, for example, how it's doing on systems of oppression, so that you know, oh, I might need to supplement this with more resources
that better?
Systems, or I might need to supplement this with more
AD
resources.
says, why aren't these programs audited for possible violation of constitutional or federal civil rights laws against Title VI of the Civil Rights Law?
Return custom recommendations based on the resources
chat.
Scores. So, Andrew, next slide.
Cool. Thank you.
And many of you may be repeat offenders here with CARE, but just for a reminder, or for those of you who are new, the CARE principles, which are an overview, I want to provide an overview for those briefly. So we at the Center for Anti-Racist Education have 5 principles that anchor our understanding of what constitutes anti-racist education. And those here briefly, and you can find more information about these on our website, which is, and Andrew will probably drop the link in the chat, which is antiracistfuture.org. These start with humanity, which is the idea of recognizing and lifting up the humanity of all students.
There's a woman in the chat says, what is this about? Shaking my head.
The need to teach historical truths, and then the need for critical consciousness, the idea that we need not just to teach the truth, but also to encourage students to internalize that truth so that they can speak that into their own reality. The idea of teaching race and racism, more importantly, to teach recognizing race and racism. So moving beyond so-called color conscious or colorblind classrooms to
moving beyond colorblind classrooms
of race and racism. And then finally, just systems, to the idea that we teach students how to.
She literally just said they're teaching race and racism in classrooms.
And systems of liberation, how those are generated, how those are operated,
systems
and how
of liberation
manifest in our society. So these 5 principles animate everything that we do at CARE. And they
basically just said they're teaching activism and racism.
Which we'll be talking about in a second.
Andrew? That's nice.
So I'm going to start off by talking about the guided inquiry process. And please don't worry if this doesn't totally jive with you right now, because we're going to be looking at it in a live demonstration here in a minute. But to start off, I want to talk about how the review tool works. And the beginning of it is a guided inquiry process. The the idea of the review tool is that we have 5 principles and we have 3 items per principle that interlocutor will answer based on a text that they choose. Remember earlier I said it could be a text, it could be a book, it could be a podcast, it could be a movie, etc. But here I'm looking at A New Joy Awakening Me, which is a podcast episode. And this insight into the review tool is asking me, based on the principle of dignity and humanity, which you can see is showing on the left, the language of the principle, dignity, humanity. And on the right, we're seeing the 3 items that I will be asked as a reviewer to consider when I am looking at this resource. So I'm looking at, does this resource reflect the diversity of humanity? Does this resource mainly tell stories about white people? Does this resource include stories of people from marginalized groups? And I, as a reviewer, as we'll see in a minute in the live demonstration, will answer these 15 items.
Apparently telling the story of white people is not telling the story of humanity.
The idea here is that we're trying to scaffold the work for educators to say, look, I'm into these 5 principles, yes. I'm not totally sure how to use these principles to interrogate the resources in my library. And if I'm using these resources in my library, the idea of the tool is that it shows you how to use the principles to interrogate resources in your library using these 15 questions. Andrew. So I'm kind of spoiling it for you, but let's take a look at the end result. So we're going to do a live review in a second, but before we do that, let's see what happens at the end of a review. At the end of a review, and this is something I totally made up for the book American Literature and Rhetoric, so please do not take my findings here as gospel. But what we see here is that we have scores based on those 15 questions by principle. And those scores are coded yellow, red, and green based on my answers to those questions. And you'll see here, and I can't highlight those, Andrew, but I bet you can, that the things that are red are stop and think. So they're basically, the way the tool works, they're 6 or below, they will be stop and think. They may be yellow, which is 6 to 10, which is caution, essentially. And then their green scores, which is they're doing well. And then at the end, and Andrew, if you can highlight that as well, you get a total score, which is, again, not for you, the educator, but for the resource that you're trying to rate using the tool. You get a total score for that. So that's the nature of the end result. And here, I'm just going to pause and see what kind of questions folks have about the tool before we go forward.
Oh, she's definitely a Pisces. 100% a Pisces. Yes, I agree. I like that this one got a low score on the liberation piece. It's so funny that they're literally calling it racism. They're literally admitting they're teaching racism. It's literally on their scale.
Feel free to use
where they're
the
like,
chat
we're
function.
teaching racism in the schools. Like, could you be any more overt?
That we have.
Remember, kids, anti-racism is racism. Yes.
Thanks, Jill. I see that question.
This is for teachers.
Jill is asking the question.
Yes.
Is the tool primarily for use with literature history? Can it be applied to STEM? Jill, our belief is that it can be used for STEM materials as well as for literature and history. The idea being that We're looking for assets.
I may ask that towards the end. I don't want to give myself away.
And so there may be many materials where in STEM, where there are significant gaps.
I don't want to get kicked out. It would ruin the stream.
The materiality of previously historic oppressed cultures. For example, if you're reading about Henry Lax, for example, in a STEM class, but you may also have gaps, which is about application or thinking about systems. So we feel like it's useful for all of those things. And then, William, I see you're asking, would it be accurate to describe the system as user ratings of the various resources? And the answer is absolutely yes. The idea is that you, as a teacher, will go in and do ratings of an artifact, a teacher resource. And what our tool does is it aggregates those so that a new user might come in and see that they have an opportunity to rate something, but also that they have an opportunity to see what other folks have thought about that.
Well, in STEM, we have to talk about the lived experiences of marginalized people. That's a very critical part of STEM.
Andrew?
Obviously.
You don't mind? So at the end of the process, the user, we hope, gets recommendations. And the recommendations come in a little bit of a long form format, which we hope will be useful. And so the way this works is depending on the score that a resource gets. So if I review,
so she's a Leo.
Again, Andrew, not trying
That's
to
make Leo, right?
Here, but
she looks kind of like a Leo.
Andrew's book, and
or she might be a Cancer. I always forget.
At 6, it comes in at 6 or fewer on some of the principles.
Cancer would also.
As the user, will get recommendations based on those principles, and so hopefully you can see here
Cancer. She's Cancer.
We see that makes recommendations. Sense. It says it looks like this resource does a good job on blah blah blah, and those are the recommendations it's getting above 6 on. And then
she has lots of feelings.
It looks like it could do better on these areas, and then we get recommendations based on that. And to the left here, hopefully we will see you will see the icons for each principle on the left that it could do better on. And when you click those, you'll be able to get actionable recommendations, which are also sent to your email that help you to think about the resource. We're not trying to cancel, as it were, any resource. What we're trying to do is figure out how to have fulsome recommendations that supplement resources. So to maximize.
Isn't it funny that she said we're not trying to cancel anything? That's like the ironclad law of woke projection in action.
Andrew. So I'd like to take a tour of this, and
no one's even brought up canceling, and she's like, we're not trying to cancel anything. I'm sure that's just
Andrew,
a coincidence.
Do you want to
not drunken projection at all,
or should I?
I just stopped sharing. If you want to go ahead and log in, and then you'll be able to share your screen.
Okay, great. Hold on just a second. No, if we were doing this, sorry.
Free bingo square. She lifts up a martini glass during this presentation. I'd actually have respect for her if she did that. I would.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay.
So we can see her inbox too.
The way
for a brief moment
this is we go to apps.antiracistfuture.org, which is the URL that you're seeing there. And I'm going to sign in poll as myself here.
We'll do a poll in the chat.
I am so excited to demo this for you. It has been
we're excited too,
a long time coming, and it's beautiful. So when I log into CARE, I'll have a number of options. And I'm going to start us here at the CARE library. It's not exactly where we're trying to be, but want to show you what we're doing here. The CARE library encompasses two major areas of work. One is area resources. Again, we talked about teaching resources, right? Podcasts, books, lessons, etc., websites. One area of the CARE library is stuff that users or publishers have added in. So that's a big part of the CARE library. Another part of the CARE library is stuff that we, CARE, have intentionally added in. And those things are CARE reviewed items, and you can access those a couple of different ways. One is with CARE collections, which are collections that we at CARE are building. So, for example, read alouds, quick videos, graphic novels. And another way is to use these filters, which I'm looking at here on the left. I'm not trying to make anybody scroll sick here, where you'll be able to look at grade level.
Oh, look, grade level. K through 2, 3 through 5, 6 through 8. They've got resources starting at kindergarten. Start on the side of the screen, 9 through 12, right there.
We're very happy.
I thought critical race theory wasn't taught in K through 12 schools.
More specifically tonight,
they have those options on their thing.
CARE review. So, the CARE review is something that involves a resource that you pick up. And here I'm going to do an example. A resource that you pick up that you want to see how or if it aligns to the CARE principles. It appears that I have one in progress. So, which I'm sorry, I didn't totally anticipate, but
you don't even know how to define critical race theory, and I've never read Ibermex
that I'm going to do is a review of the podcast episode, A New Joy Awaiting Me. Now, this podcast episode is about what happens to Black families after Reconstruction, and it's quite wonderful. And when I enter the review process, as I previewed for you, we'll see that it tells me what the resource is that I'm reviewing. It tells me the principle, dignity, humanity. Remember, there's 5 principles, and I'll be asked 3 questions for each principle. So the first principle is dignity, humanity. Does it affirm the dignity, humanity of all people? And there's more language there. So I happen to be familiar with this principle.
Look at this. They're actually ranking whether it just tells stories about white people right after they say reflects dignity and humanity. Do white people not have dignity and humanity?
Dignity and humanity of all people. It does not mainly tell stories about white people. Some of the questions are backwards, so you know. And it does include stories of people from marginalized groups.
She's literally saying that it can't reflect dignity and humanity if it tells stories about white people.
Next. Now, we are in the truthful history principle. Does it connect the past to the present? I'm going to say yes.
Omit issues of power and oppression. This is Marxism. This is asking, does it teach Marxism?
I'm going to disagree. And then, does it portray marginalized people as resourceful and
They're
resilient?
defining truthful history as Marxism.
And here I'm just going to go forward so that we can
reinforces traditional narratives.
See some of the
marginalization, Marxism
items.
Marxism
might surface. Again, race and racism.
Do they think reinforcing stereotypes is good or bad? Explicitly address bias. That's critical race theory. That's critical race theory.
I'm almost done.
Encourages students to focus on systems as critical race theory. Address how social change takes place as critical race theory.
I'm going to click finish.
Every single one of those things had elements of critical race theory. Every single one of them.
After I do a review, it's so exciting. So,
but I thought critical race theory wasn't taught in K through 12
real
schools.
Review for A New Joy Awaiting Me, but it is something. We can see here that I'm getting scores by principle. So if it's green, it means it's good to go. If it's orange or yellow,
I hope she walks us through the specific things in the
we
tool.
don't have anything red here, but that would mean stop and think. And my total score is 46 out of 60. And it is a very good resource. So we did not get any recommendations, and I'm sorry about that. But here it's saying this resource does a good job of, and it's offering those items.
I wonder if she found out I'd be streaming this, and that's what drove her to drink. That'd be pretty great.
Some comments about reviewing, if I may.
Yes, it does. Doesn't it, VT Num? It does.
The user review in the care reviewed library is meant to be a crowdsourced item.
Come back anytime.
So the idea that any person come into our library and provide a review of Kate's big book of U.S. history, for example, and provide feedback among the along the 5 principles, and then get a score, and then make choices depending on their review thing. So that is how we see that. And Andrew, I'd like for you to.
All right, 54% of people think Nancy Pelosi slurs worse.
Slideshow in a second.
We're going to do a new poll.
So one other thing that I want to lift up for folks is that for district level users, so we're working with 2 tiers of users. One is, hi, I'm a teacher, I'm an educator in some place, and I would like to know, how does my book measure up with the care principles? And that's a way that the district level can, or the school level can be, the teacher level can be immediately helpful. There are other ways that the care tool can be helpful as well. And one of them is the district level. So the care coordinators do have the opportunity at the district level to see a different dashboard. And what I mean by care coordinators is that someone who is at the school level or the district level that is looking at folks across departments, across grades, across a more meta level, has the opportunity through care to look across reviewers, and I'll show you an image in a second, to see what resources are being reviewed and used and where the gaps and assets go. And then those users can use the dashboard to see what resources have been reviewed. So if Andrew's great history book has been reviewed 100 times and it's all positive, they might say, oh, we want to use this more. Or if it has gaps in the area of, let's say, systems resources, they might want to address those. And then finally, district level users can track which educators can have signed up and reviewed resources by school. So Andrew, if you go to the next slide. This is an example of what the district level dashboard looks like. And if anybody here is on the call from Montgomery County, this is not a current view of your use. This is just a hypothetical.
Oh,
but
look,
we can see here
Montgomery County Public Schools.
Someone from Montgomery County Public Schools will be able to see the schools that are participating.
Interesting.
And the review process, they'll be able to see the resources that are reviewed, and they would, and I don't have a slide here for this, be able to drill down and see that Kate Schuster had reviewed this resource twice, or Andrew Gottlieb had reviewed this resource 3 times. And so the ability, for example, at a district level to say, look, let's all get on the same team about this. Let's think about how we will do a gaps analysis. For example, how are we going to think about what resources we have or don't have that talk about systems thinking. The ability to use the district dashboard to get folks oriented towards that, so you can do the critical thinking that is, all right, do we have things that are talking about systems? I guess we don't, or I guess we do, and now we what do we do about that? That is part of the district dashboard.
Cheers, Brent.
And if you're interested in the dashboard functionality, that's something you can talk to my intrepid colleague, Catrice Kate, about that.
We can indeed. Andrew. We can indeed. Good idea, VT Num.
So what I'd like to do, and I have some ideas about this, but before we go forward, I'd like to ask for more of a general discussion, giving you a lot of information. We've done a walkthrough of the tool, and
that was not a walkthrough of
the
tool.
Group,
that was not a walkthrough of the tool in any way.
You might use the tool in your classroom, your department, your school, or PLC.
She didn't even show the ratings categories. That was a horrible walkthrough.
If you want to go ahead and provide answers via chat, that would be awesome. Michelle mentioned in the classroom. Absolutely.
Yes, it is absolutely used in the classroom.
Curriculum design.
Can you say more about that, Becky? How this might function in your curriculum design? Yes.
I don't want to out myself, Patrice.
I think using it in your PLC.
Maybe I will at the end.
A classroom library audit, definitely.
I'm gonna ask. I guess I don't understand how you guys think teaching racism is a good thing. And then they can be like, we're teaching anti-racism. And I'm like, well, but you say it's racism on your tool. You literally label it as racism.
William, thank you for that question. And the answer is yes, it can be used at the school district level. Andrew, will you back up for a second and take a look at the district view? So William, to your question about district access, there is an opportunity for districts to have this different view where they're able to look at schools and even individual teachers as far as what they're reviewing and how, so that they can do a gaps and assets analysis. We're happy to talk to you about that more. I think, thank you, Kristen and Becky, for that. I think about this a lot as an opportunity to figure out what I could do better in my library. And I often will say to people, look, if I could talk about all the books behind me and what their strengths and weaknesses are.
She's absolutely drunk.
That would allow me to figure out what books I need to buy.
What is wrong with this woman?
And I think that I often think of that as a
she's either drunk or like really high on something.
And the principles that are embedded in it to figure out what more or different books we need to add to our instructional program.
I'm going to ask, is anti-racism appropriate for kindergarteners?
So, thanks, Andrew.
Okay, I did it.
So, William, thank you for asking this question, whether anti-racism is appropriate for kindergarteners. I don't think that racism is appropriate for kindergarteners. And so I do think that anti-racism is appropriate. I think the question is, how do we frame it? And what questions are we asking instructionally? And I think one of the things I've really learned from the cohort of reviewers that we've brought on to do care reviews, and I'm happy to talk about that process in a second, is when we look at K-2 resources, a lot of what we're looking at is resources that are emphasizing the humanity and identity aspect of our 5 principles. And so we're looking at things that, for example, are singling out Black joy for celebration. And I think that's an important part of anti-racism. So I think there are many aspects of anti-racism that are appropriate for kids too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We're not going to push her too hard just yet.
I have here some ideas for
she really wants interaction, so maybe we can do that.
And your instructional work. I just thank you, Andrew, for advancing to this. One is the question of balancing your bookshelf. I had a conversation with a teacher just a couple of weeks ago where they said, you know, I used the CARE principles and I looked at the books on my shelf. And what I realized was I had a lot of celebrating humanity. I had a lot of recognizing race and racism. I even had some critical consciousness, but what I didn't have was thinking about systems and systemic thinking. And the tool used that, helped that person to identify needs in their classroom bookshelf to create a balanced diet. And I think that's really important as we think about what work are we doing as educators.
I may have to wait on that one for a second,
AD.
Kind of
context
we'll
for
see.
Students.
We'll see where this goes.
As far as in your department, I think it's really important to provide, and I've said here, plotting a trajectory forward, but the idea that you're in a social studies department, here we're talking about secondary education, obviously, a social studies department or an ELA department, where you're thinking about what are we, where are we going? What are we trying to get to? And using that to backwards map the kind of books that you're going to recommend for teachers and students.
I think that's a good one because it could actually be a real question.
According to CARE principles, obviously the tool is engineered to build towards that. That's really helpful because the question is, like, do you want to be doing this work in 6th grade or you want to be trying to play catch up in 12th grade? And I think most of us agree.
Play catch up if you just start in 12th grade.
Later.
Okay.
As far as in your school, the question of assets and gaps analysis is really critical. This starts at the department level, but goes forward to the school level, which is the question of you might be doing all you can to identify the humanity of people from often oppressed groups, but if you're not talking about progress and struggle,
Edie is talking about Gabrielle Clark's case.
Manageable objectives, if you're not talking about systems of oppression and how they are mantled and dismantled. I don't know if mantled is a word, but I'm using it now. It will not be adequate for instructional purposes. And here I want to just offer a little bit of a caveat, which is that the review tool is not meant to be used for primary source documents. Those of us, particularly in social studies, but also in ELA, know that primary source documents are their own kind of animal, and they need to be paired up with other things. And so we'll have some stuff forthcoming about the nature of the review tool and primary source documents, but they must always be matched up with other documents that are able to provide more context. I see here this question from William: which books have the highest CARE scores? Thank you for asking that. We actually have a whole section of the CARE library, which is called CARE Reviewed. And that section of the library is animated and built by real live educators who are using a rubric that we designed with, again, real life educators to produce reviews of resources, mostly text, but also sometimes videos and podcasts and so forth. And your question is, what kids' books have the highest CARE scores? And that's not a question I can easily answer because of what I just talked about, which is Sometimes books will score really highly in the humanities section, but lower in the care section, the system section, or vice versa. But what I can say is that when you log in to the care app and you look at the care library, you'll be able to see not only the care rubric, which we use to assign scores to items in the care library, but also the actual findings of real live educators who are saying, I looked at this book, here's what I thought about it, here's why I assigned the score I did. So we're really proud of that process. And if you or someone you know wants to become a care reviewer, we definitely welcome their interest.
Should I become a care reviewer? I think that was an invitation. I do. Incognito. I don't think I can get away with this one right now.
Are the tools to evaluate assessment tools used by districts?
We're going to hold off on this one. I'm going to put a pin in it, but thank you for the super chat.
We do not have those right now, but I should definitely become a care reviewer. Will increasingly use benchmarks like the care principles to align to their benchmarks and such. And then William is asking, as part of the review, do you ask educators about the ideal grade level for the resource? And the answer is yes, we do. In fact, our reviewers, we ask them to tell us what reviews are their sweet spot. So are they really interested in YA, or interested in 3 to 5 chapter books? We also look to the publisher's recommendations to see what they're recommending. So basically, we're hoping that what we come out.
No, it's a tool to cancel books that they don't like. That's what this is. It's a tool to cancel books they don't like.
Useful for a real life teacher who's trying to make decisions in their real life classroom. The last thing I'll say, and I haven't talked about PLCs yet, but this is the last item in here, and we are really hoping that educators will use the tool in their professional learning communities to help to inform their text selection. And we have a number of examples of that from teachers we've interacted with in the wild, as it were. And we think that, the idea that teachers come together, take a book, like I would take this book, for example, and really read it together, look at it carefully through the lens of the 15 questions of the tool, and then come out with a recommendation. It might be different across a number of teachers. And we hope that similarity or difference would be something that would allow them to come to
I just asked how many school districts are using this tool.
Not only this particular textbook, but also how they might use the questions as a filter going forward.
Cancel all government schools. Let's go one step further. Let's just cancel government schools.
I see what William's asking. From Casey, different William, is asking how many school districts are using this tool. And the answer to that is, I'm not totally sure. And we have only recently launched it. We know that a number are in some capacity, and we are in the process of an investigative process of learning more. And we are really hoping to interact with districts or schools that are interested in using it in a more intensive process where we might be able to be partners in the learning, so that we could figure out both how they're doing it, but also how we can improve the tool. All right, Andrew, I think that's on you.
Oh, I'll receive a certificate of attendance. Excellent. That was what I was hoping for.
Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. If you have any last-minute questions, feel free to ask away in the chat right now.
That's it?
The webinar will be available on demand for those who are watching the recording. Welcome. We're going to be emailing you resources in an email, including a certificate of attendance, as I know many educators might need that for their work. Also, at the end of this webinar, you will be receiving a link to a survey. So once things end here, we're just asking for your feedback and a quick survey, just a few questions, if you'd be able to provide us with that feedback. If you're available, our next webinar is on April 6th. That's a Wednesday as well. It's going to be our CARE Open House webinar. You can reach us at care@stand.org. You can visit us at antiracistfuture.org. And there's our Twitter handle as well for reference. Again, thank you so much for joining us. If you can take a minute to fill out our survey, we'd really appreciate that. We appreciate you being here and taking the time as well. Jill, thank you so much for that. Really appreciate it. If you have any last minute questions, feel free to throw them in the chat.
Did he just call her Jill?
But otherwise,
her name is Kate.
I will go ahead and end the recording right here.
Recording stopped.
I'm just going to hang around and see if they do anything else.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Becky, for joining us. Thank you, Lisa. Thank you, Jamie. Appreciate you being here. All right, folks. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end the actual meeting now. William, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for joining us and engaging in the chat. We appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Everyone have a wonderful evening, and we'll see you soon.
All right. Well, I guess that's it. That was a little anticlimactic. Now, I did get a chance to... Oh, hang on. Oh, where is it? Oh, no. Did I not open it correctly? Hang on. I might have... Oh, I hope I didn't mess that up. Okay, I got their anti-racist principles. Okay, now because we have a little extra time, more than I thought, so you guys know how they were talking. I did my alter ego got a shout out. So I did get the link that they put in the chat for their anti-racist principles, and I just thought we'd go over them real quick because she she didn't go over that tool. That was so ridiculous. She didn't go over that tool at all. She could have walked through, like, here is how we're reviewing things. I mean, maybe we can get in and actually use it. I don't know. Actually, can I? Can I just get into that tool right now? Holy shit. Is your U.S. history text racist? Wow. So there could oh, review tool, it's right here. Oh, I have to fucking log in. Okay, sign up. Hang on. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take this off of the screen just for a second because I have to put in my super secret. One of my super secret. I'm going to end up... I have so many alter egos. Tonight I decided to identify as a man. Let's see. I'm in New Hampshire. I'm going to say I'm a homeschool parent. Okay. Got to check my email to finish. Then we can maybe get in. Oh, got it. Okay. Copy link. Put it over here. Oh, it's a Salesforce thing. Look at this. Look at this. I just want to show you guys like what actually came up. Salesforce. It's not even branded. Okay. There we go. Man, I'm gonna have to go through and blur out that email address after. Whatever. Okay. God damn it. Hang on. I have to blur that out too. Damn. Okay. Let's see. No, we're gonna do other. Oh, it's making me say, as an educator, I use classroom content to, hang on, I can actually make this so you guys can see it. Don't give away my secret email address, okay? I have to blur it out later. Not there. Okay. Okay, never mind. As an educator, I use classroom content to challenge both racial bias and structural racism. Yes. As an educator, I think about how my own racial identity influences my instructional approach. Sure. As an educator, I analyze the ways in which race and racism operate in the world. Yes. As an educator, I normalize talking about race with my students. Yes, I guess I do. Are these resources anti-capitalist? Then it should be free. Well, it is free. It is. Okay. I just want to get into the review tool. Does this display my email address anywhere? Okay, I don't think it does. We can go back over here now. Care library. Oh, here it is. This is what they were looking at. Oh, a people and a nation. Okay, hang on. A space for me. Let's look at this. No one's reviewed that yet. Where can I see things that have been reviewed? Okay, I want to see grade K through 2. I want to see things that have been reviewed. Care reviewed. Recommended. Oh, actually, hang on. What do they have for caution? What's under caution? The electric slide and Kai. Kai is the only member of his family who can't get the dance steps in the electric slide right, but Kai is determined to bust a move in this fun and sweet celebration of African American families. Why isn't... Okay, so I guess we can download the complete rubric? Oh, so now we can see. Okay, we can actually see. Okay, this is all I wanted her to show us. Like, how are they actually rating things? So now we can see. So the first thing they rated on is people. Does this text affirm the dignity and humanity of all people? And how they measure that is it tells stories of diverse people without omission. It recognizes that no group is a monolith and individuals have diverse perspectives and beliefs. It centers the voices and words of marginalized people instead of relying on how dominant groups view them. So basically, I mean, listen, what I like, I'm going to say something nice. I like that it says recognizes that no group is a monolith and individuals have diverse perspectives and beliefs. Okay, we can get behind that. Everything has some good features, I guess. What I don't like so much is that they're rating it on, does it center the voices and words of marginalized people, which we know is going to mean that any book that has a white main character is not going to rate well on this. And listen, man, I'm not going to say that every book has to be about white people. That's not what I believe. Like, books can be about anyone. But I do find it a little suspicious that one of 3, which is not that many, 3 points is that you can't have a white main character. Like, you should be able to have anyone you want, as a main character. God, sorry, hang on. Still sick, sorry. It sneaks up on me. I'm sorry. God damn it. Sometimes I don't even know what's coming, and all of a sudden I'm hacking up a lung. Oh no, that's a real book. Check gender. I will check that, Sam. Hang on, let me go back real quick. Let me see if they have it. Care library. Gender. Is gender queer one word or 2? Not queen, queer. It does not have genderqueer. It does have this book is anti-racist, which apparently got a 59 out of 60. It got an excellent score. I swear someday I'm going to stop coughing intermittently. All right. So their next thing that they're rating on is history embraces historical truths. How they measure that is it emphasizes how groups actively resisted oppression, that's Marxism, made choices and took action to create their own future. It challenges the stories of victimization to demonstrate how marginalized groups persevered and built supportive communities. So again, we're talking about the fact that these books can't be about white people. And again, I'm not necessarily suggesting that every book needs to be about white people. That's not what I believe. But when books that are specifically about white people are going to automatically get a lower score, I just think that's a problem. I do. We should be able to have whatever characters we want. Connects the past to the present. So we have two categories here that are overtly about Marxism. Next up, we have consciousness, which is to develop a critical consciousness. And how they're ranking that is the books uses a counter narrative to question the dominant narrative. So that's Marxism. That's basically like People's History of the United States is going to score well on that. The book reveals systems of power, Marxism, that have resulted in the marginalization of non-dominant groups and critiques inequity that has resulted from disparate power and marginalization. Basically, consciousness, because it's critical, we shouldn't be surprised about this at all. It's critical consciousness. When they say critical consciousness, chat, what do you think they mean? What do you think they mean? And I'm just looking at, we got Q-Bird over on Rumble. Yeah, so when they say critical consciousness, what do you think the critical is referring to? AD, do books about Sicilians count? I don't know about that, AD. I mean, maybe we'll have to, do you have a specific title in mind? We can look it up. So when they say it's a critical consciousness, what does that mean? I know it's 7:30. Yeah, I wonder, this would be a great thing. Where did the fake Rotarians go? John, this is exactly the type of content you need to see. They aren't talking about the prison system here, John. It's not about prison. This is what's taught in schools. Yes, World Slugger. When they say critical consciousness, what they really mean is critical theory. And so it should not surprise us at all that the consciousness category is entirely Marxist. Every metric they're using there is Marxism. And then they say racist. See, I told you, they literally say that they're teaching racism in school. That does not say anti-racism. That easily could say anti-racism, but what they have racism as a specific category, which recognizes race and confronts racism. And how they're measuring that is, does the text avoid stereotypical, judgmental, negative, token, or foreign or exotic descriptions of marginalized group? Does the text make hidden racism visible? And does it explicitly address racism and bias? And then we have the systems category, to create just systems. What do you think they mean? Chat. Pop quiz. What do you think they mean when they say systems? What are they referring to there, do you think? I will go ahead and, Vendetta. Okay, let's look that up. Let's look that up when I'm waiting for other things in the chat. Let's see. Vendetta. No. Nothing there at the moment. Sorry, AD. Yeah, so you guys are okay, kind of. So people are saying that when they're referring to systems, they're referring to equity. I was actually thinking that is actually probably true. Yeah, capitalism. I was thinking of systemic racism. They're calling that systems because of systemic racism. But okay, so what they're measuring here is, does the text provoke critical questions about systems, policies, and the status quo? Does the text provide accurate information about the complexity of social change and how movements work? Why would we need to be providing complex information about social change and how social change movements work to children? Because this book, right? This is not like a advanced book. This is a book about the electric slide. Why would we need to be doing that? This is the activism category. And does the text encourage action to combat inequity and promote equity? This is literally saying that they are rating texts for use in public schools on whether or not those texts turn students into little activists. That's literally what they're saying. And so where did this electric slide text go wrong? Recommended with some reservations. This story is told with heart and humor and highlights the importance of Black joy. She used that word too, or that term. The story shares the importance of dance in African American and Black culture and centers the culture of non-dominant groups and young readers. The electric slide in Kai embodies the care principle of humanity and shows the power of perseverance, belonging, and loving your Black family. Nothing's wrong with any of that. That's all fine. I want to know what they didn't like about it. This is an adorable story about a young boy and his family. The illustrations are lovely and reflect diversity in Black people. It meets all criteria for the people principle, centering voices by highlighting the voices of Black people, showing we're not a monolith. The story touches on family traditions. The story does not tackle any of the other principles, which is why the score is low. Oh, so there was just a nice story about a Black family, but they're upset. They gave this book a lower score because it doesn't overtly address racism and activism. It's just a nice story about a Black kid and his family. That's not good enough, apparently. The story does not tackle any of the other principles, which is why the score is low. There isn't a focus on justice, fighting racism, raising consciousness, or telling truth in history. So you're telling me that in just a nice story about a Black family in which a kid wants to learn the electric slide, that's not telling truth in history? It is quite simply a fun book to read that does not have any bias and does no harm. I would still rate it as partial adherence or recommended with reservations, simply because it does not tackle most of the principles. Fun times. Fun times. Fun times. All right, guys. I think that this has been a deeply informative webinar. If you enjoyed the Spy Stream today, Spy Stream is a stream that we do every once in a while when we can catch a live woke training in action, just like today. I'm going to spend a little time on this website. I'm looking forward to that. But I am going to wrap it up for tonight because I need to do laundry and some other stuff and possibly even see my husband for once this week. But I'm going to be going to Boston tomorrow. And I think I'm going to be streaming at 5. I'm just not 100% sure yet because I have to check the quality of internet at the hotel. Oh God, really? Are you kidding me? Naruto says the court ordered Jesse Smollett to released on bond while he appeals his conviction. Are you effing kidding me? Well, I guess that's a nice little anti-racist ending. So, guys, I'm going to be updating you if I am going live at 5 tomorrow. Again, I'm fingers crossed I'm going to be able to. It just really does depend on the hotel internet. So we're going to see how that goes. And happy hour on Friday is also kind of up in the air as well because that also does depend on the hotel internet. But I'm staying in a swanky hotel, so I think that it'll probably be okay. But no, I'm not going to make any promises. We're just going to cross our fingers. But if you enjoyed the stream for tonight, I hope you will mount that like button on the way out the door. I hope you will subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And most importantly, I hope you will consider becoming a member of my locals community because my locals community is the best. And I just love them so much. And there's the only sane place on the internet. And it keeps me sane. And I know it'll keep you sane too. When you join my locals community, you get access to 2 Zoom calls every single week. You get access to monthly bitch crafts, which is like a craft and bitch. You get access to book club. You get access to the supporter Discord. You get access to all sorts of cool things. We do have a book club coming up on March 26th with Dr. Howard Asher. What that is he's going to essentially join us on a private Zoom call. It's not going to be recorded. Not doing it for content. We're doing it so we can get together and have a chat about this wonderful book, 2024, with the author and just have a good time with it and learn a thing or two. If you want to join my locals, that comes in at $5 a month. You can also do it for this week only for $45 a year. If you are currently a monthly member and you want to upgrade to the annual membership because it's going to save you 3 months. It's like a lot. You can do it this week only. I'm going to be raising the price back up to $50 for the year next week. So you're going to want to get in on that. And I really do want to bring 100 new supporters into my locals by my birthday, which is April 12th. And so you can help me on my way towards that goal as well. You can become a supporter at kb.locals.com/support. If you just want to join the community and check it out and you're not ready to join as a supporter yet, that's cool. You can just go directly to kb.locals.com and join for free. Take a look around, see if it's a place you want to come and hang out. Guys, that's all I have for right now. Again, I will be updating you on the streaming situation tomorrow once I get to Boston. But thank you for spending some time with me. I hope you enjoyed Spy Stream, and we'll see you soon.